the Upshot Interview Series. It is episode number 25. Charlie Eisenhood, Josh Mansfield, joined today by none other than JohnE McCray, the Florida disc golf legend who's been playing for almost 30 years at this point in PDGA sanctioned events and has multiple Masters titles to his name, many top fives at majors and national tour events. Johnny is legend, and we're so thankful to have him on the show after he had a I shouldn't say pretty serious, like a major catastrophic heart attack just a few months ago. And he'll talk about that and the recovery process in our interview. But it was like looking bad for quite a while. And then he pulled through, and now he's back playing tournaments, Josh.
No, Charlie. He's back winning tournaments.
Yes, you are right. Mulligan me right there.
It's so much fun to talk to somebody who is the kind of perspective on the sport that Johnny has. He has played in events with Ken Climo and Paul McBeth. We get into that a little bit. And just talking about the technology, the development of the game. He is somebody who very clearly has a lot of wisdom in the game and is just a real valuable person to the community of disc golf as a whole. I mean, our sport is better with people like JohnE McCray. And so it's a real opportunity. And, at the end of the interview, I've such a great interview. I've decided it's not just that every interview is the best interview. It's that this interview series rocks, Charlie. We talk to a lot of fantastic people. And if you know somebody's not listening to this interview series, I don't know what you're doing. You need to share it with them. Get them listening to these interview series because they just keep getting better week in and week out. And they are so much fun to talk to some amazing people.
Well, I hope you enjoy it as much as we did. And if you have ideas for who we should interview in the future, please let us know. Obviously, we're talked a lot to players, but we also talked to people in the industry, course designers, and more. So shoot us an email, upshot@ultiworld.com. Become a subscriber, join the Discord, talk to us all the time, 24 hours a day in the Discord. And it's just $4 a month at ultiworld.com/subscribe. Without further ado, JohnE McCray joins us next right here on the Upshot Interview Series. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. Well, if you're looking for the biggest and baddest pound bag that there is, go check out the fresh Octohall colorways on the website, including neon green, purple, Cryptek Raid, and Typhon hulls. You can get 18 to 20 discs in the main compartment, 4 to 5 putters up top, and additionally 4 to 6 discs in each hull pocket. Plenty of space for all of your things, snacks, water bottles, etc. And it's really just about how you like to build your bag. So get yourself a deluxe Octohull today at pounddiscgolf.com. Joining us now on the Upshot is the legendary disc golfer JohnE McCray, who played in his first PDGA sanctioned event, as far as I can tell, Johnny, in 1995. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, first and foremost, I know that everybody's going to be very interested to hear how you're doing after dealing with some heart issues a few months ago. How is your recovery going, and where do things stand?
Yeah, it was about 5 months ago now. It's seemed unreal, still seems a little unreal, but I'm getting better. I'm not quite 100% yet, but getting better and better. It seems like every day. Just yesterday I threw one further than I have yet, so I'm encouraged. Keep getting encouraged every day, it seems like. But yeah, I'm getting there. Feel great. Feel happy. It was amazing, actually.
You've been playing in tournaments since your the medical event, correct?
I've played in 2 events, and they were both B-tiers here in Florida.
Didn't you win the Melbourne Open?
Yes, I did. Yep. It was crazy. It was like a movie. I mean, it was. I was just going to see, I just wanted to get out and play in an event and see everybody and everything. And ended up shot pretty good the first 2 days, and then the third day I had a chance and I came out firing, and next thing you know, I had a lead going, and then coming down the stretch, it seemed like I was trying to give it away. I was missing putts and going out of bounds. All kinds of crazy stuff was happening. Guy aced a hole. The guy that was running me down aced a hole, and then I missed a couple more putts, and going into the second to last hole, I missed another putt, and he made a putt, and he was one ahead of me, and then he threw out of bounds in the last hole, and I thought to myself, this is, nothing else matters except for this hole right here, and I birdied it to win, and it was really like a movie. If people were watching it, it was fully suspenseful.
I fully believe that we could be making a movie about you, Johnny. But my question is, and not to rub it into your competitors' faces too much, when you think of your percentage of your game, your health and your game right now, as to where you were prior to the heart issues, what percentage would you say you're at?
I am right now. Yeah. I would say I'm probably approaching 90%. I'd say. I mean, I'm not quite fully there. I know that I'm not fully back, but I keep hearing. I've been hearing for months about how you'll be stronger after all this, and I'm not as strong as I was before this, but I feel like I'm doing pretty good. So haven't had any complications, and it was a full blown heart attack. So that's what it was, and I actually. It happened during a tournament, and I realized it was a heart attack when it started going down the back of my left arm, and then it was really scary actually at that point. And got an ambulance called, picked me up from the course. I was on the course, and rolled me to a hospital, and they rolled me into the ER out on a gurney. And 2 minutes later, my heart gave out, stopped. And I guess I was legally dead for 4 minutes. And they used a defibrillator, the shocking machine, where they're like, clear, and shocked me twice to get me back. So it's, it was definitely scary. I don't want it to happen again, obviously.
How do you look at this incident? Are you making big lifestyle changes? Does it change your outlook on your life at all, or anything that you're doing? I mean, that's quite a traumatic incident to go through, even if I would imagine you don't remember a good chunk of that time. How has this impacted the way that you kind of live your life?
Yeah, I mean, we are definitely, I've gone through so many different things, and I was telling Josh earlier that I've been on a diet since 2007 when I got contracted Lyme's disease, and then I got lactose intolerant and gout. So there's a lot of different things that I couldn't have for years, and it even got even smaller after the heart attack. I'm down to pretty much only eating, as far as meat goes, chicken and fish. So yeah, I've definitely changed lifestyle, and I'm trying to take it slower and I'm definitely super happy to be alive and be here and everything, and grateful for the community as a whole. They have been really supportive, and the prayers definitely saved my life. And so I feel like, I'm definitely might be a little bit more grateful for everything, really. But it's been extremely, you wouldn't think that. I never thought it was going to happen. I'm 50 now, but I was 49 when it happened, and so I didn't think it was going to happen, but it did. And so I just got to take everything slow and try not to get upset, which that's feel like that was part of my fire in me, especially on the golf course, was, rather than wanting to win, I wanted not to do bad, not to lose, basically. So trying to take it slow, though, and just realize I'm graced by God just to be here. So,
I'm curious to know, was there a big reaction when you showed up for your tee time at the Melbourne Open, your first tournament back?
definitely just showing up. I mean, everybody was coming up to see me and stuff. So it was emotional for sure. And, that's another thing they tell me. I'm supposed to be more emotional than I was before. And that's kind of hard to believe because I was emotional beforehand. So I didn't really need any more of that, but I guess I am. And yeah, it was you know, I don't know if it was at the tea time particularly, but just showing up the day before and people coming up and talking to me, everybody pretty much. So yeah, it's been been awesome, really.
Well, obviously, it's an incredible thing, medical technology. Your heart is stopped for 4 minutes, and then here you are back playing disc golf again, and it's awesome. And I see that you're signed up for Masters Worlds and a couple DGPT events coming up. Are you expecting to go and play at these tournaments?
I am definitely going to the Masters Worlds. I'm actually leaving here in about a week and a half. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna go do that. That's one that's I've on courses there in Peoria. I've played a bunch, and so I know what the courses are about and all that. They got a little bit of hills, not too bad, but here in Florida, it's very flat. So that'll be a little bit, but it's only one round a day, so shouldn't be too bad. I mean, I feel like I can handle that pretty easily. But a couple of them, going to be the DGPT events, especially the D Glow. That's going to be that course is very demanding, physically demanding. So I'm I had some of these I'd signed up for before the start of the even year this year. So I'm still hoping to, but I'm not sure if I will or not. It's all dependent on how things go. It's going to be a big trip going out to Illinois from Florida here. So I'm gonna see how that goes first before I say exactly what I'll be doing. But it's I got a machine that reads. I got a machine inside me, and then I got a machine that sits by my bed that reads that and reports back to the doctor. It's pretty amazing, like you said, the medical, and it tells them how active I am, how long I'm sitting around, everything. It's pretty awesome. So I have to take that with me to when we go, so that he can know what's going on and stuff. So yeah, it's still trying to go week by week here. So, but it's getting better. I feel like me and my wife are exercising a lot, and so every night we go we're almost up to a mile and a half walk after dinner, and that's like after pretty much working out, doing stuff during the day too. Where I'm playing golf, putting practice, doing all kinds of things. So not like that's the only exercise I'm getting, but yeah, I'm trying to get better. I'm you know, I'm determined. I'm gonna say that. That's for sure.
Well, I have to imagine, that part of the outpouring of support has been in large part due to the time that you've been around the game and the amount of people and connections that you've made, and so transitioning to another topic just a little bit for some of our listeners who maybe a little bit newer to the sport. As Charlie mentioned, you played your first sanctioned PDGA event, at least according to your page, back in 1995. How did you get into the sport of disc golf? And I guess that's just my first question.
Yeah, that was my first PDJ event, and it was like the first week in December of '95, and I actually played amateur. It was my first tournament, so I didn't know any better. And back then, there was only intermediate and advanced. There was no other amateur divisions. And so the day before, the guy who's running the tournament says you should play intermediate because this is your first tournament. So I listened to him, and then that morning I showed up, and they're like, intermediates play the short pads, and I was like, what? I had never done that before. So that was the only intermediate tournament I ever played, and then I jumped right into advanced right after that. And yeah, so my brother introduced me to the game, and I had only started playing a month before that. And my oldest brother Bruce, he taught me the game, and we used to we worked. He moved down here from Massachusetts, and we worked together doing ceramic tile. And so on the weekends we'd go out to Clearwater, which is about an hour and 10-minute drive, and because that was the nearest course, and we'd spend all day out there Saturday and Sunday playing rounds. So he's the one who taught me everything I know about disc golf, basically, as far as that. But my dad put the competitiveness in me when I was a kid. So,
Well, when I talked to Jennifer right after you had your heart attack, she mentioned that, like, once you were lucid again in the hospital, you asked who won the tournament that you were playing in when you had your heart attack, and said that it should have been you, and that they should have waited for you to finish the tournament before they took you to the hospital, which I just absolutely love that.
Actually, that's funny. But yeah, I woke up, and when I came to, it was a Saturday when it happened, the first round of the tournament, and it was Saturday. And when I actually came to, I mean, when they hit me with the defibrillator, I specifically remember saying I'm alive, but it might have been somebody else who said that. I felt like I sat up a little bit, but I never saw anything. But so somebody else might have said that I was alive, to be honest with you. And then when I actually came to, it was Monday afternoon, and I still thought it was Saturday. So that's kind of it's kind of where that went down. I was definitely out. And yeah, I think the first question I asked her was, can I play tomorrow? And it was already Monday. The tournament was already over. Yeah, so yeah, I still wanted to play, but yeah, I wasn't really hip to what had happened.
So, you've obviously had a very long career at this point, and tons of top 5 finishes at national tour and national tours and majors over the years. A couple of Masters major wins to your name. How do you feel about your career overall? Because I mean, you have a lot of second place finishes. You had a second at USDGC back in 2014. And lots of close calls, but you've never won that MPO major. Do you feel like, I mean, obviously you're a Hall of Famer. That's easy enough. But like, how do you feel about your career?
To be honest, I feel like it's not over. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I still have something to prove. It seems like my whole life I've always had something to prove. But I still, I still work. I'm still working hard to try to make something happen. And who knows? Maybe I will eventually. But even if I don't, it's okay. I've had a lot of good chances. I've had a lot of good opportunities. And yeah, some of those, like the USDGC getting second place. I was 42 years old when that happened. So it was pretty. A lot of people don't get that opportunity at that age. So I feel blessed, and you know, and I still love the game and everything. I don't know. I just like making putts and throwing good shots, good drives. So I'm not ready to give up quite yet. I am playing in the Masters Worlds in 50. It'll be my first ever 50-year-old event. For players at 50 or older. So that'll be my first one ever in that division. And most of the time when I go somewhere, I'm gonna play open. I'm not gonna play in an age protected division. So I still feel like have that same feeling that my dad gave me when I was a kid. You gotta to be the best, you gotta beat the best and all that. So that's what it's about for me.
So, one thing that you talk about, you really enjoy making putts. Well, we opened up and told some of our listeners that we were going to have you on and asked if they had any questions. And one of our listeners said that he wants you to talk something about turbo putting. That is a direct quote from our Discord.
Yeah, So there is a absolutely great video on my tour page, JohnNeMcCrayTour.com, about turbo putting. It explains how to throw a turbo putt in all different directions. And so I'd strongly suggest that you check that out. Again, it's JohnNeMcCrayTour.com. And that is a really good video I did probably close to 15 years ago or something like that. So it's a really good one. But turbo putts, that's something that my brother taught me when I first started playing. My oldest brother Bruce, when I first started playing, I only played amateur for 8 months, and then I started playing pro at the end of '96. So I used to turbo putt everything. It didn't matter the distance really. I'd turbo putt everything when I first started for the first 6 months. I won advanced tournaments only turbo putting, and it's a skill. It's like, to me, it's like throwing a curveball in baseball. So it feels natural, and a lot of times people are like, "Why do you do that?" And it was just the way I started and I really like throwing it. So down here in Florida as well, we have these palmetto bushes that are like 5-6 feet tall, and there's one course, Melbourne actually, and I call it Turbo City because they hide the baskets right around these palmetto bushes, and I'll throw a tee shot right into the palmetto bush, and I'm strutting off the tee pad, yeah. And then the next guy throws it, and he's like 2 feet from me in the bush, same bush, and he's like, "Oh no!" And I'm I'm okay with it because I can throw a turbo putt. So yeah, I have always used the turbo putt, and it's definitely, I feel like that's actually what made me famous to begin with. I had won a ton of pro tournaments, but making that 100-foot turbo putt at the 2012 Worlds was something that really lifted me up into a disc golf hierarchy as far as videos and stuff, popularity.
Going viral.
Yeah.
So is that the one that you'd point to as like your best ever turbo putt? Like, what sticks out in your mind as some of the just huge putts that you've hit?
Well, there's a lot of them, really. I mean, that was definitely a big one, but there's quite a few. There's one playing at Waterworks in Kansas City on hole 1 where I was up above the basket and low ceiling going down and made a turbo putt that was pretty amazing. Couple big turbo putts coming down to the end of the tournament to still get a win. Were a couple big ones there. I remember that at Brooksville, Florida. Couple nice ones during the tournament there, and yeah, it's there's been a bunch of them, so it's not just. But back then they didn't film a lot, so there was never camera crews around back in the day, So nowadays, a lot of times if you're doing good, somebody's filming, so it definitely happens a little bit more nowadays. But back then there was a lot of them that never got seen, but my competitors seen them, but so they knew. But
that's what mattered, right? You knew if you were playing against Johnny, the turbo putt was going to be the nail in the coffin for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's you never. Sometimes for other players they would have been out of position, but I would still have a chance with the turbo putt. I tell you, so it's definitely a good weapon. I know a lot of people. Some of the guys, well, not a lot, but some of the guys are, "Oh, that's just a gimmick or whatever. You don't need to do that." Well, they don't. I know one guy who said that, but he's not from Florida where we got these bushes that sawgrass and palmetto bushes where it's super advantageous to be able to do that.
So another question then I think goes along with this is, what would you say is your favorite course, probably on tour, right? Whether one you played or just watching, which one do you think is best, and what are the elements about it that you appreciate?
Well, I actually really, really love the Deglow course because it's disc golf is not always as athletic as it could be. And the Deglow really tests your stamina walking up and down those hills and everything, So that's one that really stands out to me as a really good course. That's one of my favorites. There's a course in Madisonville, Kentucky called Mar Park that you're traversing a big hill up and down, and that's another one that I really like. But as far as tournaments go, the USDGC is always like a high pressure situation because they got so many OBs that are so tight every shot. You could take a 9 on one hole and then 3 at the next 3 rounds. So it's a definitely high pressure situation too. So that's a good one. Even though it's more open, it's not a lot. You're not going through the woods a lot. It's super tight with the OBs. They're not generous at all with those. So that's one. And there's so many. There's the course that we're playing for the Masters Worlds, and they play for the Ledgestone Open. The Northwoods Black. That course used to be a lot easier, and now they stretched it and pulled it and lengthened it, and it's a very challenging course. So that's a really good course to play. So there's a lot of. I've been lucky to get to see a lot of different courses all over the country, and so there's so many. I don't know if I can name them all. We'd be here till midnight.
Do you like the use of artificial OB in courses that are more open, like USDGC, for example, at Winthrop?
If you went and played that course with no OB, it would be way too easy. It'd be ridiculous. You know what I mean? But it's when they put up those OBs, it definitely changes it to it just makes you pucker up. It's really tough. You know what I mean? Because like I said, you miss at all and you're out of bounds. You know what I mean? It's always by that much too. So I mean, for that particular course, it definitely is a good thing to make it more challenging for the top players for sure. But if I was to run my own tournament, I wouldn't do that to the guys.
Too cruel. Now,
yeah, it's challenging,
I know you'd always rather be playing. That's easy enough to tell. But when you are at home and you've been kind of stuck, not able to play for the last couple of months, do you tend to follow along with the Pro Tour events? Do you watch JohnMez or Disc Golf Network or anything to keep up with what's going on?
Yeah, I definitely have this year more than I'm pretty much never watched it ever before. But this year I definitely been watching it, and it's exciting. It's pretty neat. They're getting very good. I've watched it a couple times in the past, but they're definitely getting better and better at what they're doing, which is awesome. You know what I mean? It's definitely awesome to see that they're getting better too. But I still feel like I still feel like they could step it up another notch to show more players, because there's a lot of guys out there, traveling around doing their thing, trying to get out there on the tour and everything, and they just don't get shown as much as when you're only filming 2 cards, you know what I mean? And then it's the top 8 guys. You end up seeing about maybe 15 guys at the most throughout the whole year, and it's they need to show more people than that. There's more than 15 guys out there hustling and doing the best they can, and I feel like they need more recognition too, you know what I mean? So it's like, just for instance, Double G's been getting a lot of exposure this last few months, which is awesome for him. I'm super proud of him and everything. But last year or the year before, he wasn't getting that, and so I feel like a lot of these guys do need more exposure. It would help them out for their contracts, for their livelihood and all that. So it's I feel like there should be, just like ball golf, where there's a couple holes that they're showing everybody's shots on. You know what I mean? When the lead group's walking, they should be showing other people playing, and not just It's they're getting better at it though. It seems like the timing is a little bit better, but I still feel like they should have more people exposed. Is what I'd like to say. But they're doing great. Nothing, not knocking them or anything, and I think we'll get there. You know what I mean? But I just feel like more people need the exposure.
You got any hot takes on the season so far?
No, I mean, it's the hot part of the season's coming up right now, so they're going to be working hard and playing in some very hot temperatures. So I feel, I don't know. I think that Bradley winning just this weekend was pretty awesome. He had that throw in, and that was pretty cool. There was a lot of throw ins this last weekend from downtown, which was really cool. And I don't really no hot takes, I guess. Just enjoying everything that's happening and the growth of the game and everything is pretty exciting to see. When I first started, there was nothing like this, and like I said, there was hardly any cameras back then. Maybe one tournament a year there'd be a camera, and that was it. So it seems like everywhere you go, even to smaller events now, if you're doing good, there might be a smaller video crew out there filming you. So it's pretty neat. It's growing the sport.
Speaking of other growth and developments in the sport, one of our listeners asked about disc technology. In your experience, what are some of the biggest changes that have come to disc technology? And we'll start with that.
Definitely the speed of this has grown tremendously. When I first started playing, there was only base plastic discs, and then I remember I could probably around 97 or something like 98 when the Cyclone came out, and it was a little bit different plastic, and everybody was like, "Oh, what is this?" And I feel like that was the start of premium plastic, and it's been growing and growing, and it's pretty amazing actually. Just the speed of disc is amazing. You can use a disc that'll go much further for you nowadays. There's guys that I first started playing with that couldn't throw 400 feet, and now they're throwing over 400 feet, and they're old like me. So it's pretty amazing. It's definitely growing. It's you just got to find the right one for you. That not all discs will work for you, but I know that every disc can work for somebody. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter. I feel like any company can make some good discs. Luckily, Latitude makes the best ones, but you could use any disc to score out there now, and you just don't use them for the wrong application. So, yeah.
Well, we got a visitor. I see. Got a visitor.
Yeah.
Yep. So, the disc technology has obviously changed. How would you say that overall disc golf has changed the most? And I know that's kind of a big question to ask, but there's just not that many guys who have been on the road and playing at a high level for as long as you have, since the mid 90s. So I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are. I mean, we've obviously seen all this explosive growth the last 5 years, but there have been a lot of changes along the way. So what stands out to you the most as kind of how disc golf has changed since you started playing?
Yeah, definitely the courses are one of the things. When I first started playing, everything was par three. It didn't matter. The hole was 1,000 foot. It was a par three. And nowadays, so you get a little bit more extra shots, but even still, it's the courses have lengthened up quite a bit, especially on the pro tour and the big courses. The good courses that we'll call them for now, but they're definitely getting bigger and bigger. Like a big course back then was 5,600 feet. That was a pretty long course. Now it's 9,000 feet's a fairly average long course now. So it's definitely expanding that way, and the more people getting paid is definitely something. The $1 million contracts some of the guys are getting is absolutely amazing. That was not happening back in the 90s and early 2000s. So that's pretty amazing, and just the whole boom of that part of it is definitely incredible, to be honest with you. I'm not getting that, and a lot of people aren't getting that, but it's still amazing that it is happening, and it's awesome. You know what I mean? 20 years from now, hopefully a lot of people are getting that. So yeah, it's pretty exciting, and it's pretty neat. And another thing is the payouts of the tournament are also getting higher and higher, booming. So that's part of the whole growth of it, I guess. And it's amazing. I remember when I first started playing, I was like, maybe after the first 10 years or so, I was like, if I got paid a quarter as much as ball golfers got paid, I'd be rich. I'm still not rich or anything, but it's it's getting better and better. So it's maybe someday we'll even catch them, but I don't know. It's going to take a lot. Outside sponsorship is what is going to help out tremendously as well. Getting some big companies out there. I know that disc golf wants to shy away from some sponsors, but I feel like maybe we should use whatever we can to keep building that. So,
what do you see as your future in the sport moving forward when your competitive days are over, right? When you're no longer playing MPO, what do you think your place is for, especially in the world of professional disc golf?
I think that I could be a coach, a trainer. I've done, I don't know how, I couldn't even tell you, but well, close to 200 clinics in my time. And so I feel like I have a lot that I could help people with, and actually have helped a few people that have done really good, like Hannah Leatherman. She I trained her for 2 different off seasons, and she was doing really good and she won a major. And there's a amateur woman that I trained, and she won a world title. So I feel like I got a lot that I could give to that side of the game. And I have a lot of techniques that a lot of people that you won't hear in anybody else's clinic at all. And a lot of different things, and I call them nuggets, little thing that could stick into you that could help you out your game tremendously. So could help you out a lot. And so there's a lot of things that I can teach people and help. And being here in Florida is my home base. Being in Florida, a lot of people will want to come to Florida, and they are starting to. I know years past people were going to Arizona or California, but now they're starting to come to Florida. The pros are coming to Florida, and I think that I could help out a lot of these guys to improve their game even more. So that's something that I could do to help out.
Do you have a nugget that you would want to share with our listeners, that just a general piece you could give right now?
I don't even care about the listeners. I need a nugget.
It's just little things like you might have heard people putting. They say, "Oh, I always grab this disc in the same spot," right? So that's something that you should do, and that's something that I've done for years. For 15 years, more than 15 years. But every time I throw a disc, I grab it in the same exact spot, because if you want your disc to be consistent with you, you should be consistent with your disc. I tell people, you hear people say, "Why'd that disc do that time?" And what makes your disc start turning over or being less stable than what it started was the nicks and gouges and bends in your disc. And so if you're grabbing it in a different spot every time, it's not going to be as consistent. Your disc is not going to be as consistent for you as it would if you grabbed it in the same spot. So that's one thing that nobody else, I've never heard anybody else say that but me. So have you ever heard that?
I've never heard that.
It's first for me. I'll definitely try it.
Yeah, so for me, I always grab it at the top of the stamp, and if I have a disc that doesn't have no stamp on it, I'll write my initials. I write my initials on the top of the disc anyway, so that way I know I'm grabbing it in the same spot every time. So yeah, that's something that there's a lot, but that's one little nugget that I'll share with you right now.
Okay, I like it.
You've played through the Climo era and the McBeth era. Who do you put at the top of the heap all time?
I'd say that Paul's probably better than Kenny ever was, as far as, but Kenny's the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. If you think like 100 years from now and you look at stats, right? And none of us are here. We're all gone. But somebody's looking at stats, and they're like, this guy won 9 world championships in a row, and he won 12. And then you look at Paul's, and he's won 5 through, 12 years, whatever it is. There's no arguing that point. You know what I mean? So Kenny's the GOAT, but Paul's an amazing player and probably the best. He's probably the best that's ever played the game, but as far as skill wise and all that, but definitely Kenny's the GOAT.
There you go. There you go.
I love it.
So, as you try to get, let me back up. You've been able to play at a very high level all the way through your 40s, and now you're at age 50. How have you been able to do that? Because I think there's other older disc golfers out there who are interested in being able to play at a high level and maintain a high level as they age. What has made it possible for you to stay fit enough to play at the elite level and really literally compete at the top of the sport, even as you get into your 40s and now 50s?
Well, I'd say part of it is a mindset that, that just wanting to go out there and compete against the best and be the best, beat the best, all that. But another of it is being active, you can't never stop. I was told that Bruce Lee saying is, running water never stops. So you just got to keep moving, keep out there playing. A lot of guys might, as they get older, I don't know, I'm guessing they're getting tired or, they're fed up with it or something, but you just keep pushing hard. If you're not getting the results you get. I always said whenever I lost a tournament, whether it was second place or 100th place, whatever it was, back to the drawing board, and that means you got to get back out there and practice, keep practicing hard and working at it. And that's part of it, is just keep working at it and can't give up, You don't give up, you don't give in, you give it your all.
In terms of strategy, I'm sure, I guess I probably shouldn't assume this. Let me check. Do you throw as far now, or maybe just before your heart attack? Is that the furthest throwing you've ever been in your career, or were there times when you were a bit younger that you threw further?
I definitely have been throwing further before that, because I haven't gotten quite back there since then, but we're still working on it, and I plan to. So
for others who notice a decline in distance for whatever reason, right? Age, medical reasons, or what have you, how has your game adapted in a world where you don't have the distance that you're used to?
Okay, well, hadn't been that way for a month.
Just the heart attack then?
Yeah.
You were throwing your farthest just before the heart attack?
Yes. And it's a matter of, it's like a baseball pitcher on the mound. If he's not using his whole body to come through on his shots, he's not going to get his top distance that he can get. Or top speed that he can get on the fastball. And it's the same thing for disc golf. If you're not using your complete and total body, then you're not going to get your best result. Now, if your knees, if you're having knee trouble, you're obviously not going to throw it as far as you were. You know what I mean? If you got a cast on your leg, you're definitely not going to throw it as far as you would without it. So staying healthy and all that is definitely part of it. I played soccer most of my life. I haven't played in many years now, but so I was very active and knew how to use my body properly, and so that kind of helped me to understand how to get my peak performance. So it's definitely using your whole body, and the key to every disc golf shot, whether you're throwing hard or soft, putting, everything, the key to every disc golf shot is following through. So if you don't know what that means, I'm not going to show you because it'll be too hard to do right here with a video, but find your local pro and ask him if he can show you how to follow through, because that's what you want to do on putting, driving, everything. And that's a good life lesson as well. Follow through in what you're doing.
Another nugget right there. What's the most memorable win of your career?
I got world titles, and I got one world title in Masters, and I got a U.S. championship. But probably one of my most memorable wins happened on my wife's birthday, and it was a 72-hole tournament in Gainesville, Florida, and it was in 2003. So some of the guys that are playing at the top now were just babies, and it was a 72-hole tournament, and on the 71st hole, I birdied, and I was a three-way tie with Barry Schultz and Ken Climo going into the 72nd hole. It was like a 670-foot hole, and I was the only one to three it for the win, and it was pretty memorable. I think I tied the course record on Sunday. This was back when we played 4 rounds in 2 days, and on Sunday morning I tied the course record to get within reach of even close to those guys because those two were running away with it. And so then I was only 2 or 3 back of them to start the last round, and yeah, it was that was something that was pretty special to me, And they both had multiple world titles under their belt at that point, so it was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
And my wife was right there, of course, on her birthday when it happened, so it was pretty neat. But
that's what I was gonna.
That one always stands out in my mind, anyway. Even though it was probably just a B tier, but it might have been an A tier actually. But it was super special to me.
If players are going to come down and travel to Florida, what's the number one course they have to play down in Florida?
Oh, that's a good question. We've got a couple good ones now. There's one in Lakeland that I would say is one of the better courses in our state as of right now. It's called Holloway Park, and Chris Smith and I'd like to give the other guy credit too, but they did a great job of designing that course. Man, I got to come. I wish I had having a meltdown there, but those guys did a really great job, and that's in Lakeland, Florida, again called Holloway Park, and you can look it up. It's a very good course from the long pads. It's a very good course for Florida. Like I said, a lot of courses here in Florida are par 54, so that one there is a really good. Will definitely challenge the top pros. So that's a great course, and I'm hoping to. I got a bid put a course in here close to me, in Wesley Chapel, and hopefully that'll be a great course too. So I'm hoping that'll be a new one. Will be. There's some really great courses if you're up in the Panhandle in Florida, up near Tallahassee. Tom Brown is a very great course. That's a really good one. So that's where they played the Tallahassee Open this year, and they have another course in town there too that's very challenging as well. So they got a couple up there. Miami's got one at Indian Hammocks that's I feel like the top pros would probably get 10 unders on it, but it's a pretty good one. So we're lacking here in Florida. I feel like we're lacking a lot of great courses, but there are a lot of courses, a lot of fun courses, a lot of beautiful courses, but we need more challenging. And Greg Hosfield's been doing a pretty good job of doing that, putting more better courses in. So we're getting there slowly. I feel like the whole country is getting there slowly as far as getting more par 5s and 4s and higher pars for the course. So, but it's a great place to play, and you can play all year. It might be a little hot right now for some people, but it's great here. It's a lot. The community here is awesome as well. Every town you go to is got a great community, and so you're never in a loss for good people to play with and courses to play. So that's something that we have down here in Florida that's awesome. And then you're never far from the beach.
I just saw and I looked at this very briefly. I saw a study or something about sprinters, and there's more elite sprinters come out of Florida than come out of, some upper Midwest state. And they were like, why is this? This doesn't make sense. But they think that maybe the sunshine actually makes a difference, that somehow it enables people obviously to train year round, which duh, but also that there's a physiological change in the sunshine. And I wonder the same thing about disc golf, because we certainly have a lot of elite players coming out of the state of Florida relative to its sort of cachet in the overall community.
Absolutely. I think that there is something to it. I mean, to be down here in Florida and really push through and play in the heat and everything, you can tell that humidity is beating down on you. You get to I remember when I first started playing, I was much younger, but I'd get out there and play 5-6 rounds in a day, and it would definitely, beat on you as you're going through it. But even now, it seems like it's even hotter now. It's especially after all this happened to me. I get out there and play one round, and it seems like I played 5 rounds of dripping wet, and it just seems like you got to push a little harder maybe down here. I know back in the day, a lot of the sports, they used to go up to the Colorado and get up in the mountains to train in altitude because that was something that would make you push harder as well. So there probably is something to that, to the altitude and to the humidity that makes you, be a little stronger. So maybe that is it.
Well, see, now I know that the key to longevity is to play 5 or 6 rounds in a day. I've literally never done that. I've never even thought about doing that. That's incredible that you've ever done it. So I have like one last thing here. I'm feeling a little beard insufficient in this room right now. Johnny, has your beard ever gotten in the way for a shot?
It's never gotten in the way of a shot, but sometimes I'd put my bag on my shoulder and it rips a couple out, and that doesn't feel the greatest. I could take my hat off and I'd be, you'd be much more happy, but but yeah. My hair stopped growing up top, but it grows plenty down here.
Do you keep it trimmed, or is this just like 5 years of unfettered growth?
It's been like 3 years.
Okay.
Almost 3 years. In November, started off on no shave November, and it's been, so this November it'll be 3 years. So it's not even been that long really, but yeah, it gets pretty big. It's actually. My wife told me, "Oh, if you cut it, it'll grow better. It'll grow faster." And she trimmed it, and that was the only time it's ever been trimmed, and it hadn't grown really since then. So I still trust her and everything, but she doesn't know about beards. Maybe women's hair grows better if you trim it, but the beard did not.
So were you clean shaven 3 years ago, or is that just when you started letting it grow?
I mean, has it been 5? She's trying to tell me it's been 5 years, but I don't think so. It has not, because it has not.
I'm curious, when was the last time you were like clean shaven? You shaved all that beard off?
I'm thinking it's, what is it? What would it be? October of 2019. So maybe it has been, maybe it has been 4 years, but
okay.
So yeah, 2019. But I always had like a goatee or something. You know what I mean? I think the whole time I was touring, when I started touring around in the RV in 2014, I always had something like a little patch here, or a goatee, or whatever it was. So you can see pictures of me as I was touring. I always had something. It was, for 1 year I'd rock one different style, but I've been rocking this beard for a while. It's still got the dark up top here, but it's a lot of gray.
The more facial hair you have, the farther your discs go. I'm convinced of it.
I think it's more follow through that you get.
There's a whip effect.
Yep, exactly.
Well, Johnny, I think I can speak for the wider disc golf world when I say we're so glad that you're doing well and that you're getting back on the course, and looking forward to seeing you at a Pro Tour event soon. I hope they put you on the feature card. So thank you so much for taking some time out and talking with us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, and I appreciate everybody's prayers over this whole thing. It's been amazing. Like I said, I think the prayers helped save my life as well, and it's helped push me. The community's involvement in all this and the messages have definitely pushed me to want to continue and work hard and get back there. And as far as the Pro Tour and getting on a feature card, I've always been one. I'd rather earn it than just have it given to me, to be honest with you. I'd rather go out there and earn it. That'd be more special to me. But, they'll do what they want to do. I can't control anything they do. But, it would still be an honor. But, I want to earn it, because that'd be way more special to me.
Now, when you could become the first 50-year-old to win a DGPT event too. That'd be something.
So that'd be pretty cool. I mean, I I played in 2 events since this, and I won them both. And I won the second one in the playoff. And so, who knows what will happen in the future, but I'll be trying my hardest. I can promise you that. Giving it my all.
All right. Well, Johnny, appreciate your time. JohnE McCray with us here on the Upshot Interview Series. We'll talk to you next week.